What's going on, everybody? You know who it is. Just wanted to make this video because something's been bugging me for a while, and recently I was just watching some TV after work, trying to relax, and what pops up but a bunch of shaming, pathetic commercials against vaping, vaporizers. Basically the thing that is supposed to be so much less harmful than cigarettes, for lack of a better term. And I don't know what irritated me more, the fact that it was all false information or testimonies from people that are the wrong kind of subjects to be interviewing, or the fact that it actually said on the bottom that it was endorsed by, I believe, the FDA, which I find to be bullshit because they have never done any true tests on any kind of vaping. So here's what I'm going to do with this. I have uncovered in my own free time roughly, I'd say 8 or 9 hours worth of video on different fallacies and different fake facts that the US government, as well as clickbait sites, what have you, have released in regards to alternative forms of smoking cessation, which is basically vapor devices or vaporizers, if you want to call them. Basically anything that is not patches or gum or any of the old methods that have like a 20% success rate. This is by far one of the more successful versions of quitting smoking, quitting nicotine, what have you. Now, a little bit of background on me. I am a proponent of this because, for one, I'm not one of those hipsters that started vaping because it is popular. I'm one of those guys that, thanks to peer pressure in high school, started smoking and, chewing tobacco, basically all the bad forms of nicotine, and I have an addictive personality to where I have 10 times the problem of getting off an addiction that most people do. And my buddy's mom, I'd say it'd probably be about the same issue because she used to go through probably a carton and a half a day of cigarettes. And she tried vaping once and took off with it. I mean, she got liquid, she got the tank, she got probably a whole bedroom full of stuff for this and switched to that. And she noticed the difference really fast. I noticed the difference too. But I'm not going to get too deep into that because that's some of the nitty-gritty stuff that could turn this from a less than 10-minute expose into a 9-hour video that nobody has the attention span to watch, much less any of the sheeple that are convinced that vaping is the new smoking or it's the gateway to drugs or all that bullshit that people call it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be making probably a bunch of little mini stub videos. I'll be posting them here on social media as well as YouTube, obviously. And I implore you, especially if you're one of those people that sees vaping in a bad light, to give me a few minutes of your time when I post one of these videos. I mean, the views obviously help, but hear what I have to say. I can promise you there will be no biased or opinionated material in these videos. I will be operating strictly on facts, and when I have something to say that is for vaping, I will not only list where I found it, I will put it right in the comment section below. A link straight for you to read with your own eyes. And it will be all reputable sources. But I'm going to start with the main one right now, which is vaping safer than cigarettes? The answer is safer is the wrong word, but they got the right idea. The truth of the matter is vaping is probably less harmful than cigarettes, and that has actually been proven. In fact, Britain, since the British, they love their cigarettes, or I guess fags as they call them in their terminology. And when the British government found out about the vaping industry and whatnot, they actually hired government labs to test this to see what it compares to as far as cigarettes. How did the tests go? Well, lo and behold, right now they're actually working on putting vape shops in hospitals right next to the gift shops all over Britain and the UK because they found it to be that much more of a beneficial form of nicotine than the old school versions that chew cigarettes. Basically everything that involves not only deadly chemical trace in it, but cancer risk is a lot higher. Vaping, there is no cancer risk. And I know some people are going to be, well, I found this site through a random ad that looked completely reputable, even though it ended with a .com address. But it said that it has just as much risk of cancer. It doesn't. Once again, that's for another video stub. But that's one of the ones where if that's your opinion, I implore you to watch the video, please. I'm not in it for any kind of monetization. I know I'm not going to get enough views to earn money off of YouTube. That is not even the point of why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I have heard so many people bad-mouthing the one thing that is probably saving lives, and I'll explain that in probably a little bit, probably in the next stub, but saving lives by moving people from the cancer-causing, poison-loaded cigarettes to something that's got less ingredients, I should say, because there's not really chemicals in it, and is a whole lot less risk. Now, I'll link that article down below for you because it was by the British Ministry of Health, I believe, but they actually found that vaping, in comparison, is actually 95% less harmful than cigarettes. Now, some of you might be thinking, where's that 5% coming from? They don't really list it. So my bet is they don't want to say 100% less harmful, because if something comes up in the near future or what have you, they'd be kind of retracting statements all around the board, really. But if they leave a 5% margin of error there, works for their favor if something small does pop up, especially if it's something like, per se, I don't want to use asbestos because that's a really bad term, but kind of like an asbestos situation where they didn't think there was anything wrong with it. They used it in everything, and then they found out it was a very, very bad for your lung health. But this, I don't foresee, even if they find something, it's not going to be asbestos grade because, like I said, the chemicals aren't really there. And I'll explain that probably in my next stub. My next one is going to be about the comparison as far as the ingredients or chemicals in vaporizer liquid in comparison to cigarettes. Might do chewing tobacco, but it's probably about the same crap, just different intake method. But you'll be surprised to find out that all this stuff that you see here in the commercials, heavy metals, I'll have to look up the rest because every time I got so pissed I just wanted to throw something at the TV, but all those ingredients aren't there. But being as I was going into engineering, I do have quite a bit of science classes and, physics, science, chemical properties, that kind of stuff in my repertoire. I was able to kind of deduce where people would come up with that false accusation and why they come to it so quickly without even investigating. Like I said, though, that'll be the next video stubs. All I wanted to start this out with is the fact that, yes, vaping is not as dangerous as smoking. And if you're somebody that's smoking and thinking about trying the switch, I know sometimes it doesn't stick for everybody, but if you're interested and you've been steered away mostly by the negative hype that's been associated with it recently in the media, if this doesn't change your mind, which it probably won't, please keep an eye out on the next few videos. Not only will I do why it's a better option, I will also do, some gear reviews, some budget setups that you can get a hold of for relatively cheap to make it more beneficial for you monetarily as well.